Hey everyone, it's Mike with It's Pittsfield Tonight. I am here with Craig Benoit. Craig is running for City Council at large this year. Craig, thank you so much for taking the time to do this today.
Well, thanks for having me on, Mike.
Absolutely. Now, Craig, I know we did an initial interview, which is still on my website that people can check out. So since then, what has it been like? Have you had a chance to get out there and start door knocking or meeting some of the people in the wards?
Yeah, I have. Like I said, Mike, from before, I see a lot of people here daily. I mean, I see 100, 150 people here a day. We've been out putting signs. We've been out talking to people, listening to what they're talking, what they think the city needs and which way we're going to go. And a lot of support. Hopefully, they'll all turn up at the polls and vote. And it's been a pretty good experience so far.
Yeah, right. For those who don't know, Craig is the owner of the hot dog ranch in Pittsfield. So I imagine you do see a lot of people on a daily basis.
Yeah, well, and like I told you before, that was one of the reasons I chose to go at large, is because I see a vast amount of people from all over the city.
Now, are there any particular issues you're hearing from the constituents that are on their minds the most?
Well, it's basically the same two or three things. One, let's start out with one that's the North Street. It's the bike lane. I don't call it a bike path. That's over on the other side of town, but it's the bike lane. All the people I've known said they don't even go down there anymore. I went down there the other day and it took me 20 minutes to get to end of the street. I could see where there's going to be an issue with if we have a fire or police. I looked at those little cones in the street. What's going to happen in the wintertime when we try to plow snow? Are those coming up, or is there anything holding them down? And we already lost a business off there. Stores moved down on First Street, and I don't know. I just think it needs to be reevaluated, and let's put a little more concern into local businesses down there, how they feel about it. I mean, it's already been. I hear about the parking meters, which the new ones are, and the old people can't. The older people have a hard time with the license plates and stuff like that. We just need to make it more friendly. If we're going to make that our downtown and our jewel, we got to make it more friendly for people to go there.
I would agree. I mean, now I turned 50 this year, so I'm an older person. But the
I'm
first
61.
the first couple times I used that, I struggled a little bit. It was because even though you get the free 30 minutes, you got to go enter information, and it can be. I think that could be rolled out a little bit simpler, or maybe some PSAs to educate people a little bit more on how to use those. Because
Right.
if you're coming in from out of town, I would think that might be what really throws you off if you've never been there before. But as far as that, then are there anything else? I mean, I know we've talked about. I've held some rallies in support of school resource officers, and you've been at both of those.
Right.
Let's talk about that a little bit. Just what your stance is after seeing some of the reports of violence in the schools, specifically Taconic. How do you feel about having a school resource officer?
I'm 100% behind that. I think we should have them in all the schools, and maybe two in some schools, depending on what's going on. That was a terrible thing that happened at Taconic. It shouldn't have happened. I mean, back in the day, we were kids. Yeah, we got in fights, but not these kind of fights, and not assaulting teachers and not doing that kind of stuff. And it's just a problem. I mean, it needs to be addressed. And having a resource officer there is probably the first way to address it. And then we should talk with the school committee and the principals and the superintendent and find out what else we can do to make it safer for everybody. I mean, if I had a child at the school and that was going on, and my child was involved, I would be a little nervous that something else could happen.
Absolutely, and I think having a school resource officer also is a way to educate the kids and build a healthy relationship between our officers and the children, to let them know that that's not their enemy. They're not there to put them in prison. It's a tool to also build that bridge, I think, which will only strengthen the community.
Right. Well, back in the day, I mean, I'm a little bit older than you are, and when I was living and growing up in North Annis, we always had a cop walking on Main Street, and everybody was on Main Street, so you saw them all the time, and they talked to you. And I mean, like you said, they're not there to bother you. They're there to help you.
Right. I couldn't agree more on that issue. Are there any other big ones that you're hearing?
Well, we're hearing all the stuff with the drugs and the crime in the city and the shootings. There goes back to my thing. We need to do something with the police force. We need to We need to either spruce it up or find other tools or avenues of stuff that we can use. Maybe we can incorporate the sheriff's department. We just got to get the crime off the street. We got to get the drugs off the street. I mean, businesses aren't going to come in here if there's a shooting and every day and there's drugs all around and people are dying of overdoses because it's full of fentanyl and stuff. We just got to try to clean that up, and they need some more help. So we got to find some resources to help that out. You know, we got that money from the government. Well, maybe we should use some of that for that, or for the resource officers. You know, let's do something that's going to be creative for the city.
Yeah, the ARPA funds is I think going to be a big thing for Pittsfield. And is that another issue that you've talked to people? Have you heard any suggestions or things that people would like to see with that funding?
You know, it's hard to say because there's so many different things you could do it depending on who you talk to. I think number one thing we should do is help do our public safety, you know, and then that includes maybe doing some projects with it that would make things safer in the community for everybody.
Okay.
That, and when we get the, I know back when we first started with the marijuana tax that they were going to do pot for potholes. Well, that hasn't happened yet. So we need to address that part of the money too, and maybe incorporate all of that into making our city more safe and more attractable for outside resources and helping our businesses that are here.
Yeah, that's another one. There was a lot of issues on the table right before the pandemic that were at the forefront. Some were like the TIF. There was a business or a brewery that was supposed to be going in on North Street. And I know the pandemic changed that, but we never had a follow-up on that. Garbage is another big one. I think that's going to be a big issue this year. Do you have any views on that?
Well, I feel at this point in time, we charge our residents enough in taxes to pick up our garbage. If they need them, they put them in the bags. That's agreed. But let's make the bags are free.
Okay.
If that's how we're going to control the buy. You know, that's what I mean. There's no reason to have to do that. Take some money out of where all this money that we don't know where's going, and buy the bags and hand them to the residents.
Okay. I do know, you know, certain neighborhoods you'll go through on trash day and it's spotless. And then certain neighborhoods I've seen piles. It's almost like a truck showed up and just dumped it there. So I do see some problems with that in some locations. What the exact solution is, I'm not sure, but I do think that definitely needs to be discussed. And
Absolutely.
And then recycling. I feel like that's another one we really need to push. And I saw where Worcester recently just put a program through where they gave out free recycling bins with lids to stop and reduce the litter. And you know, do you have any views on that? Is that something you think we should be looking into here?
Yeah, I mean, I think we, like I said, they want to do the bags. Maybe we, you know, get the standard issue trash cans for your trash and for your recyclables, and that's what you're allowed. And if there's anything more than that, you're gonna have to pay an extra fee. But I mean, you're allowed so much every week when they pick up your trash, and that's going to be it. Whether, you know, if you're living a single life and you have not a lot of trash, a family of four, they have more. But let's make it, you know, according to how is it going to be fair for everybody.
Okay. And I guess in closing, then what would you say to the people out there, to the constituents out there, why they should elect you, and definitely how can they get in touch with you?
Okay, well, you got me on get in touch with me because I can't remember my phone number, but it is elect Craig Benoit at large at craigbenoitlarge@gmail.com. I don't have my phone number right off the top because I really don't. They call me, I don't call it.
Do you have a Facebook page?
Yes, I do. There's a Facebook page on elect Craig Benoit, Councilor at Large.
Okay.
And, I'll do the best to get back. We do the best we can respond to everybody, and it's starting to pick up now that the campaign's going more. I would just like to tell the residents of Pittsfield, I'm here for them. I'm the working man. I'm coming in with new ideas. Hopefully we, you know, have a little bit of finance background. We can straighten out, get through the budget, you know, make these funds allocable, make sure everybody's responsible, give the help to where we need. I've talked to the building inspector. I've talked to the board of health inspector about what they feel they need, which I think is a critical part about our public safety. I mean, because they have to inspect the buildings, and the health inspector makes sure everybody's good. I have an appointment with the fire chief on Friday, and I just want to see what they got. We need to figure out where we can do and get this in place so our town is safer, run more efficiently, run more effectively.
Okay.
I promise the voters, if I get elected, I will make sure that happens.
Okay. Well, Craig, I definitely appreciate you taking the time to do this, and I'd like to get you on one more time before Election Day. As I said in the beginning, a month or so ago, when I first started these, I'd like to put some kind of Zoom forum together where I can ask everyone questions that are basically going to be yes or no questions on big topics. But I'd hope to get you back for that.
No problem. We're more than happy to, Mike.
Great. I appreciate it. Well, thank you again, Craig, and have a great day, and I will talk to you very soon.
All right. And just make sure you remind people, just get out and vote. Voting is very
Absolutely.
important.
And I'll have that right on the screen for this.
Thank you.